All right, we are live. Another episode. Thank you for listening. We are grateful that you are taking the time to listen to us talk about some Montana football. But yeah, first, guys, rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. A lot of our listeners are Apple listeners, Apple Podcast listeners. So make sure you give us a review there. That helps us out, gets us into the algorithm of all that, and gets us on out there a little bit more. Also, get a hold of us. We've had a lot of people reach out either on Twitter, Instagram, or just reaching out to us personally or on Griz as well. So that's awesome. We want to continue to get more interaction that way too. So get a hold of us. We want to hear from you. Even if we don't agree with you, we can at least have that nice banter back and forth. So, but Luke, how are you, man?
Doing much better. I've calmed down now. I was pretty excited after the game, just because, as we've discussed, we should not be losing to a team like NAU, and
Yeah.
we just had a bad night, and I was pretty upset that night. And then the next morning, the sun came up, and we were still, things are still okay, and everything's gonna be all right. So we're on to Idaho State, but we should probably talk about what happened on Saturday.
Yeah, let's get into that. So the end result was a 28-14 loss at the hands of the Lumberjacks. Just go into some stats, guys. Even though they're painful, let's go over them. NAU out first down us 23-12. Rushing yards 136 for NAU to 31 for us. Passing yards, they had 260. We had 213. So they had more yardage, 396 to 244. They sacked us 5 times. We had a total of 62 plays, and NAU had a total of 74 plays. They had 4 penalties for 5 yards. I believe we had 10 for 68, so we had more penalties as well. Interceptions, we had 2. They had 1. Third down percentage, well, they were 5 of 16 for third down. We are 2 for 17, and they did really well on fourth down. They were 4 for 5, and we were 1 for 4. So, just looking at those stats, the 0 sacks kind of alarms me that we're not getting that pressure just because our defense totally just relies on that. And it's crazy that, we didn't get any sacks in that game. And it's been kind of sackless, as you would say, the last couple of games. Interesting fact there is we have 7 sacks on the season. Opponents have sacked us 13 times. And so that combination of our defense not getting any pressure and the lack of protection it is a downward fall no matter who you play. And that showed out.
Yeah. So I'll start with the offense.
Yes, let's go into offense first.
Well, I mean, the sacks, you're talking about the sacks.
Yeah.
So I rewatched some of the game, and there's a reason we're getting sacked. There's some missed assignments, offensive line not doing their thing. But then some of the other things I noticed is, there's a lot of people ripping on Vidlac out there. Well, there was a lot of mistakes by our receivers. If you look in certain plays, he's looking at our receivers, and they're running the wrong routes, and they're almost running into each other. So he's having to look off of it and look elsewhere and move around the pocket. And it's allowing the pocket to break down where he could have already thrown the ball if people are running the correct route. Yeah. It's also relying on our tight ends to block a defensive end, and them all of a sudden realizing, I got to block that guy, and whiffing and him getting crushed. On that play, he got crushed. He was about to throw it. White is wide open down the field. I mean, it's touchdown time. And, it's just so many mistakes. And, a lot of times in a football game, people will make mistakes. But I think on Saturday, every person on our damn team, including coaches and everybody, made mistakes. We usually don't see that. Everybody was making mental mistakes left and right. I have a feeling part of it was the fact that Utah Tech came in and whooped up on NAU. And you try not to think about that stuff, but you do. Like, oh my God, if you beat up on them, like I have a feeling that some of it is the guys were like, "Oh, we'll walk over this team,"
Yeah.
and an 0-3 team, they're playing for their coach, playing for their season, everything. When
They
we're
were
walking,
hungry too.
yeah,
They were really hungry.
We're walking in thinking, "Oh, we're gonna walk over these guys," and they should have played football, and we weren't ready.
No. Well, and one thing that kind of worries me is, our offensive line is supposed to be our stronghold, right? And half of those guys are seniors.
Yeah.
Our wide receivers are juniors, and I think just juniors. Yeah. We might have one sophomore, and I think Recanelli is a sophomore if he on transfer rules, I believe.
Yeah. It's hard some of those rules.
Yeah. So if you look at that, though, should we be expecting misran routes and missed blocks when you have juniors as basically wide receivers and seniors as half of your line? Yeah. Like that that makes me think, okay, where is the disconnect? Is it coaching? Is it players? What is it? Because I haven't seen that. We can say that maybe one position doesn't do well, but I haven't seen the whole team like that just downright not do anything correct.
Yeah, there's so many people missing assignments, doing one thing when the other this happens a lot on offense and defense, where especially on like line protection or like on the defense, the backers, like your free safeties and DBs. They're calling off protections, and if half of them hear one thing and half of them think you're still running something else, the whole thing is gone. Like the line could be on the offense, the line could be thinking it's blocking this way, and then the other half's thinking it's this way, or thinking the snap counts this, and then it's this, and it screws everything up, and it just turns into a dang mess. And it was that bad. Like there's so many mistakes in every play where it's like it snowballs and it just gets worse and worse. And it's like you could tell, like I think some people were getting frustrated, like, why can't we stop making mistakes? And they just kept making more mistakes.
Well, just the lack of continuity and just it just made me think, oh, what? And the coaches are going to say, like, we had a great practice. This and that happens. We have off days, but that many position groups where we couldn't do anything. Special teams where we've been lights out had some questionable calls.
Yeah.
And so, and let's get into the kind of the offense. Some of the things that I saw, and you see what you told me what you saw, the lack of creativity. Like I just think that is this the same offense like from last year? We've had some more passes down the field, but the lack of creativity is not there, or maybe I'm just not seeing it. But
so a question I have, I guess, with that is,
if
the guys are getting too confused and stuff, do you think maybe in the middle of the game plan piece is like, all right, let's dumb this down a little bit. Everybody's confused, running the wrong routes. Okay, here, just run this. We did this at the beginning of spring ball. You guys can do this, and then they screw that up, and it's like. So I think it's a combination of everything, and coaches can have an off day too. You could be thinking, oh, this will work, and then it doesn't work, and I mean it just
feels like with me like we're more creative on special teams than we are with our offense.
Yeah,
like honestly, like I just don't know if and this is just like a question out there, and I'm not expecting anybody to answer it, but like this. Who's calling the plays? I know Pease is the play caller, but is it Bobby saying, "Hey, we're only going to run this. Don't even talk about running all this." It just feels like when management tries to kind of structure things and push things in one way, it doesn't create creativity. And I understand. I totally agree with you. That if we're not doing anything right, we dumb it down. But man,
so I don't know about that, but I've got a friend that was an offensive coordinator for a college football team who was calling the plays, and in a certain game, the head coach started overriding his plays, running different plays, And he was so pissed. He's like, if he wants to call the dang offense, then fine. Call the whole offense. Don't change my plays as I'm trying to. And so I don't know if that's what's happening. It can happen. And those are things that you only see if you're in the behind the scenes and stuff. But that stuff can happen. Now, I don't see – it doesn't look to me like Bobby's calling any plays because he's standing over here just with his pissed off look on his face, almost looking like, what is going on out here? So I don't think he's calling the plays, but at the same time, he is deciding, hey, like I can see him getting the headset, run the ball here. Just keep running the ball. I don't want to throw it. And then all of a sudden, if you're P's, okay, I have to do this. And that didn't happen on Saturday a bunch, but I mean, he could be dictating what the game plan is there. I'm just not sure.
Well, and you said it and I said it. The offensive line, on all fronts, man, they got dominated. Yeah. That defensive line of NAU just even on a three-man front that they got to our quarterback all the time.
That's what I don't get. Like, this is the same offensive line that we had last year in the playoffs, right? Yeah. And stuff. And there was times did an amazing job. And that was what we talked about. This was going to be the horse. Like, there was one thing we didn't have to worry about was offensive line.
Yeah.
Excuse my language. They look like shit. I mean, they look terrible.
Very, very, very bad.
Each other. They're not blocking. They're not finishing blocking. They're giving up on plays.
Yep.
I mean, there used to be the DOLA mindset, on the offensive line. And these guys were nasty. Guys like, McFarland and Thatcher and Leaf. And I mean, we're talking
Atlantic.
You're talking guys that are just, Cook, Angel. You got guys that are just dominating and, playing with that defensive mentality on offense. And man, I did not see that on Saturday.
No, I didn't either.
When that game got over and we lost, like, I was just like baffled. I'm like, what team was that?
Yeah.
That doesn't look like the Montana Grizzlies.
No.
Out there, not going to, no matter what, going to play to every last minute and every down and kick people's ass. That's not what it looked like out there. Now, not everybody. There were some people that made some efforts and stuff, but this was the one time where there was a majority of people making way more mistakes and not going effort than I'd ever seen on a Montana Grizzly football team.
It was pretty alarming, and I think the fans just with that out there in Twitterverse and social media are saying that too. Like, what is this, right?
Yeah, I heard that people leaving the stadium, because there was a lot of Griz fans there, were just quiet and kind of looking at each other like, what just happened?
Yeah. Well, and it's like, the first loss that Houck has had against NAU in his tenure?
Yeah, I think it is his first.
So that's crazy in itself. Like, I don't know. I can take a grain of salt with us being, playing our hardest and losing a game,
right,
and just not going our way. But you can't tell me that team was overmatched or had a talent issue. Our talent is there. The work was not put in, or the planning wasn't put in, or it wasn't just executed very well. But if you kind of look since 2019, our last run in the playoffs that was pretty good with Snead.
Yeah,
you have seen a. Can we say worse? It hasn't gotten any better.
Yeah,
this year, I haven't seen us have more sacks against us than against us. And so, are we getting worse on the offensive line?
One thing, you bring up Snead, and it just my head went right back to this.
Yeah.
And this is something I haven't seen on offense this year and for a while.
Yeah.
Snead was a damn leader out there.
Oh, yeah.
That guy was a leader on offense. He took it and ran with it. He was just like, no, this is my team. We heard about that even in practice before it started. Bobby likes to do the competition. He went and grabbed it and was like, this is my team. Yep. Everybody else get the heck out of the way. Yep. And there was times, like, I remember him just running and getting hit and just like getting fiery. It would fire up the whole team. What I haven't seen this year on offense from anybody is that leader. Yep. I don't see it out there.
No, I don't either.
Leader that's going to grab everybody and go, guess what? We're going to go win this damn thing. Yeah. It's everybody kind of standing around looking for that leader. We need someone to step up and be that person And I don't know who it's going to be, but someone needs to damn well do it. And I think that's what Bobby's talking about when he talks about the two quarterbacks. One of them's got to grab it. He's waiting for someone to do the sneed and get up there and grab that and take it and lead this damn team. But I haven't seen it yet. And I will give Vidlak credit. That guy was running for his life.
Oh my gosh.
Still trying to make plays. And I was inspired. I was like, there's people ripping him out there. He was throwing good balls. And he was trying to read stuff and he was running around and he wasn't giving in. And I remember looking, he's got blood running down his arm from getting beat up and he's still playing. So I think he's got the potential. I'm still in his court. And I think if you just grab it and take it, he could lead these guys and take him to the next level.
And I totally agree with you. What I see is he's got all the arm talent in the world. Does he make questionable calls? Yes. He keeps on making the I can do this play. I'm going to make something out of nothing. And then usually what happens is the last two games he's throwing an interception doing that.
That interception on the right side, the guys, the receivers ran the wrong route. He's rolled up to make something else instead of throwing it away.
Yeah. You're gonna see that with a freshman. I don't think people understand that. Like, he did not play at Oregon State. He did not play at Boise State. He has not played competitive football since high school.
Yeah.
So that is a lot coming into it. That's why it was so amazing at the spring game, even though it was a spring game, how well he did.
Right.
Because he hasn't played. He's played very well. You look at the 13 sacks. Well, of course he can't throw the ball. He's running for his life. Yeah. Like, he honestly, like I am so tired of people like bashing him. Yeah. But if we had McDowell out there, and there's nothing wrong with McDowell, he can't throw the ball. He cannot throw the ball. He pushes the ball when he throws.
A shot put thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, like, if you want to be one-dimensional and just run the ball, I don't see how that can make us better. NDSU, they do it, but they run a whole different system and their blocking is totally different than what we do.
Way, way different. Yeah, exactly.
And so it's just crazy because another thing, we had Harris back there. What happened to Gilman? He had 4 carries for 31 yards. He was our back that was doing everything. What happened with him?
I was questioning that too, especially on the short distance things. I'm like, what's X doing back there? He's more of that scat back kind of quick guy. Yeah. I'm like, why don't we have Gilman or Osmo pounding the rock here for a yard? I didn't understand that. I'm like, the thing is like, did he get hurt? Does he have the flu today?
But he was out there 4 times and he looked fine.
Yeah.
I rewatched a couple of those because I was like, is he hurt? He didn't look hurt.
Yeah, he didn't look hurt either.
And then if you want a yard and you're not gonna have the big backs, get McDowell in there.
Yeah, I agree. Put McDowell, put Eli in, and then they're gonna go. Okay, they got to get one of them, or you can get guys to commit to one or the other and give it to the other one. Sort of thing.
Yeah, so get Eli, get Osmo back there. And then have McDowell back there as well and run the ball. I just did not get some of the play calling. Third down and 1, 4th down and 1, where that could have just it felt like the whole game we were right there in striking distance, where if we could have just one thing kind of go right, we'd get that flip that momentum. There was no momentum at all. No. I feel bad for our defense because I think they did some good things. They did some horrible things that we'll go into. Like I kept like, why does no one want to guard the tight end?
Yeah, so that was just flat ass blown coverage. Like, our guys were guarding the wrong people. Like, they were supposed to transfer over to the tight end, not the back, and they weren't rotating correctly. And so you had 2 people, because one guy made the mistake on the wrong person, and then one was going free. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Now, one guy on the defense that was awesome and is just kicking ass out there is Hill. He's out there. So that when Gradney hit that ball, goes flying in the air, he comes running in, that freaking amazing diving catch. I thought, okay, here we go. We're swinging some momentum because everybody's fired up and stuff. But then, the offense just did what they did all day.
And it was crazy. We had 2 picks
Yeah, Gradney. I mean,
And
he's doing the Justin Ford. He's getting a pick a game now.
Yeah, and I think we got one touchdown off of Gradney's, but I don't think we got one off of Braxton. So, yeah. And then okay, if you want to go into the defensive side, or do we get all of our things we wanted to say about the offense?
They sucked.
They sucked.
It was bad. It was just terrible effort. I'm sorry.
It was, and that's the whole thing. Like, that's the whole thing. There was no effort, and it was frustrating to watch.
There's people that played hard, and so I don't want to make them all saying that way. Like I said, I was appreciative what Vidlac did. Bergen, I think, was working hard out there too, but there was a lot of people that mailed things in and just didn't. And it's gut check time. Good thing is I think I know Bobby Houck and this coaching staff. They're watching that film, and they're going, "All right, man up, own it, you know, because we all fail. So own it and freaking learn from it, and let's go."
Yeah. Defense, man. Trick plays.
Holy cow!
Trick plays after trick plays that. I have never seen so many trick plays that
trick play. They threw the zero. They threw the big pass down the field. As soon as they threw the zero, I go, "This is another pass." I mean, I don't know how our defense didn't know. I mean, everybody knew he was going to chuck it, and sure enough, the guy's wide open. I'm just going, and again, that's blown assignment because our defense runs off of this is your assignment. But part of it, and I was been telling other people this, we play sometimes so aggressive that. Zero gets the ball, or everybody wants to get to the guy and hammer him. Then all of a sudden they forget that, oh no, I still have my assignment because they could be running a trick play here, and they caught us, and boom, score.
Oh, and I believe that catch was a tight end, and I'm like, hey, that guy, he's a big tight end. But even my wife was like, oh, he's gonna throw it, and I'm like, yep. Oh, and there's no one close to like 10 yards. Yeah. Yeah, so over pursuit, I was just going to talk about that, that they were going to all the time. And I think that's something that you kind of have to live with this defense, don't you?
Well, I think a little bit, but at the same time, like everybody has their assignment, and especially because we play a lot of like we're running man and zone. You got to know who you have, but the problem is if you don't, or you decide that you're going to be a hero and leave your person, that's when you leave everybody else hanging out there, and they're going to hit you. And boy, any you did. It was like, oh, I'm going to be a hero and stop this play. Oh, crap, the play's going the other way now, and now I'm in trouble. Yeah, and it was just a lot of that going on, unfortunately.
Well, and just one thing that bothered me with the defensive side of the ball is like, well, how, he said, oh, they changed their offense. They changed their whole offense, and they didn't have anything that, we didn't know they were going to run that. It's like, first of all, when we say we should run something different, they say, well, everybody runs the same thing. Well, if everyone runs the same thing, how did they throw out their whole offense and do something different?
Yeah.
And then how did you just like get fooled by it? Like, that makes me think that because he was praising Ball that he should get coach of the year and blah 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 and he didn't coach, he outcoached our coach. But I see a tendency of what's happening that consistently we're getting outcoached.
Yeah.
I think the BS call of saying, well, they changed everything, even though he said is did the opposite and said you can't have all offenses are the same. We run the same thing. Well, you can't have that cop out.
Yeah. I feel like that was Coach Houck deflecting from himself and just like, oh, coach, just right after the game, just deflecting. Because I have a feeling too. I feel like he was like, what the hell just happened? Like everybody else. Like, what was that? And so not knowing what to say, he just is giving praise to Coach Ball, and they outcoached us, and leave it at that, because I think I felt that late afterwards. I'm like, what happened? And
I did too.
Rewatched the game, and I'm like, oh, and I can rewind, during the game. I'm not rewinding plays back a lot because I'm like, I want to see what's going to happen next because you're so into it.
Yeah.
Well, after it's over, you can rewind things back and you're watching different position groups. You're going, oh, look, that guy didn't do his assignment. Neither did that guy. That left these two guys hanging and this person wide open. I mean, so wide open that, heck, I could probably get it there. Awesome. This is great. This is so much fun to watch. You know, it's just like breakdown after breakdown after breakdown after like, what are you doing? You know, it's just, I haven't seen that many mistakes by a Griz team in forever. And so what causes that? Is it coaching? Is it some other factor? I mean, the other thing, you know, we just got to think about, like, I remember when I was playing, if a guy's girlfriend broke up with him, he would have a terrible game, you know, something. But the whole team didn't have their girlfriend break up with them.
I don't think so.
It's like I've never seen such a breakdown of, you know, just of thought. It's like their own brain fog or something.
Oh yeah.
That's what makes me think if they were just like almost overconfident and came into this, just overlooked them. Like, oh my gosh, if Utah Tech can do that, look what we do Utah Tech. We can just show up and they're gonna hand us the freaking W.
But the Utah Tech game was different, where they turned the ball over 6 times. If they didn't, and those are pretty stupid turnovers. Where if they were actually not turning over the ball, that game I think would have probably been direct, like totally opposite. Because if I'm not mistaken, a lot of their points came in the first half. I believe it was like 34-7 at half. So, you know, they held them to another 16 points, and they scored another 24.
Yeah, I think that's right.
23 points. So they did flip the script in the second half, but I'm really worried with our adaptability. Like we're so on defense and offense, just stuck on this, like being able to follow this script. Right. Well, you know, the script doesn't go right. Well, we're just going to keep on doing the script because it will work. Well, it just kind of proves our point where it's not working. You have to do something different.
If it's not working, chuck it out the window.
Exactly.
I mean, like, I keep hearing about, you know, like our experience in coaching. We have such experience. Like, he's been offensive coordinator everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, he should be able to just like, this ain't working. Let's do this. Yeah. You know.
Well, and that's what with the whole the offense that they changed mysteriously. Wouldn't you be able to say, okay, this is what they're doing, we got to change our defense?
Yeah, I would think that.
Or at least at half.
Smart enough people. Like, and that's what I was hoping at halftime. I was like, okay, halftime, we're going to make the adjustments.
Yeah.
We've seen what they're doing. Yeah. We're going to come out and this is going to be a different half. And then we came out and we did the same mistakes and just kept screwing up. And it's just like, okay, well, I don't know what happened at halftime. Because generally over the years, you know, even when in games where the Griz are down, halftime isn't a bunch of yelling and stuff. It's, okay, let's go in. Here's what we're seeing. Here's the adjustments we need to make the adjustments. The coaching staff talks about it too. We come out, make the adjustments, win the damn game.
Yeah.
Not here.
No. And it's just we're not getting the pressure. And that's kind of worrisome because, to be honest, guys, like these teams that we're playing are not going to be the 4 teams we're going to have to face to win, to be able to go to the playoffs. UC Davis, you know, Iowa, Sac State, Montana State, they have totally better lines. They have better defensive lines than Idaho State and NAU.
Yeah, look at the freaking stupid Bobcats this weekend. Putting 40-0 on Weber.
It wasn't at Weber.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
I didn't either.
I haven't watched that game, and I won't watch that game.
No.
But I mean, when their running backs blowing kisses to the other sideline as he's running, they're playing with swagger, and we are not. And we're usually the team that's playing with swagger, and we need to get that figured out.
Yeah, definitely on the defensive side of the ball, it's like we said, we couldn't cover the tight end, couldn't get pressure, and then just the lack of energy. Usually, our defense plays with so much energy and effort that you can feel it. Yeah. It did not seem.
Well, so my wife kept asking me this. She's like, "Do you think it's the elevation? Do you think it's the elevation? Because there's a difference there." And I was like, "No."
Yeah.
I mean, it can affect you a little bit, but not this bad.
No.
I mean, there's still a want to and a give a crap about going and playing hard. I mean, I didn't see guys puking on the sideline. If they're all puking on the sideline, that tells me, okay, now you're giving the most effort you can give.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. So. Yeah, elevation is, if people want to say that, whatever.
Well, and I've heard also, and I'm not a doctor, but I've also heard that takes effect like 24 hours or like 18 hours after the fact that you've been there. So I don't think I think we arrived Friday and left Saturday.
Yeah.
So I don't think that,
Well, I
I
think
don't
that's
know.
what we've always tried to do there, is because it takes a while, is just
Yeah,
get there kind of late, and then, so that way we're done playing the game before it affects you.
that's in. Yeah.
I mean,
So I don't know, but it was not good. Any last thoughts, man?
so special teams suck too. The punt that we got blocked,
Yeah.
if you look, the up back, that was his guy, and I don't know what he went decided to take some other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it was just mistake after mistake after
Yeah.
mistake. So hopefully they learn from all this stuff. Every position group, we take what we learned, and usually, I mean, the Griz notoriously, usually if we get or lose, we bounce back pretty good. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that that's what happens, and I'm very grateful that we get to play Idaho State next, and we're
Oh,
not playing Idaho, Davis, Sac, or the Kitties next. So,
yeah.
I guess if you're gonna play like that, at least we got an opponent that we have a chance. We should have a chance against this next weekend,
Yeah.
and it's back
Yeah.
home too, which is helpful.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is going to be pivotal times. Like you said, and I said, like, it's show up, or you got to show up. You've got to develop. You've got to make that jump. Our line, I've seen some good things, but this year they have to step up.
Yeah.
And I don't think they've done that yet.
It's it's gut check time. I mean, so if I'm like Coach Germer, who's
Yeah.
I feel like is a pretty damn good coach. I've known Chad for years. I would be calling in some people, some
Yeah.
ex-all linemen, going, come in here and talk to this group. Those
Exactly.
guys are going to rip their asses and be
Yeah.
like, hey, we entrusted this to you.
Exactly.
We're all a part of this. You need to get out
Yeah.
there and do your damn job. And maybe that'll put a little fire into them,
Yeah.
get them going a little bit.
Yeah. I think that's what they should do. Like, they should call a couple of those guys. Should call all those guys and say, "What the heck are you guys doing?"
Bring them all in. I'm sure they'd be happy to talk to them.
Oh, I bet you they would. I bet you they would.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not good. And then just the comments, like and I just wanted to briefly. I'm so tired of the post game conferences with Bobby. Like, there's and there's no need. I know it's a stressful time. They're just doing the jobs too.
Yeah, they're doing their
And
job.
they're not saying it.
Well,
Bad.
they
They're
all,
not
they all
saying
walk around on eggshells and just
exactly.
try to ask the questions. Like, dude, just be a little nicer. Just they're not trying to ask you controversial questions at all.
Yeah.
Be nice, answer their question, and don't be a dick about it.
Don't be a dick and don't rip into the guy and be like, "Well, what do you think?"
Yeah.
Like what does that look like as a fan with another fan, or even just like your alma mater, your coach? You're the face of the university.
And the thing is, so that we all know what we're talking about when we talk to Frank.
Yeah.
Well, and we're trying to recruit and do all this stuff. Well, now it's all over the dang internet. Going, look at this coach. He's such a jerk. And the recruits look at everything. They used to say, when you're a Montana Grizzly, you're a Montana Grizzly 24/7. Everything you do gets looked at. Well, that's everybody.
It's everybody.
So always got to think that you're always on, always having that. People are always under the magnifying glass, and especially now with all the different social media outlets, that stuff's going to just take off out there. Yeah. So it's like, just be a little nicer to these guys.
Exactly. Well, and it's just like you don't have to control. You don't have to control the narrative all the time. They're not gonna. You've already set the precedence that if you say something I don't like, you're gonna get thrown under the bus. Yeah. So one of the things is like he threw out there. Well, we're not even close to what we were last year. Like, that was alarming to me because I'm like, wow. like all we've heard throughout this whole year is, oh, our offensive line's great. We're going to do some great things. And then all of a sudden, after one loss, he's like, well, we're not even close. We're not. He literally said, we're not a good team. We're not even close to what we were last year.
Yeah. And maybe he's just referring to the performance that day.
Yeah,
I mean,
but that was alarming to me.
Yeah, you're right. It's not good when you're saying that.
No.
So
well, and I have never heard him say something like that.
Yeah.
It was just like, whoa, this is different. I really think that both coaches and players need to look hard. I know that the coaches and I know the players work extremely hard, but what's working, what's not working, and what do we got to do to flip switch?
Yeah. Well, I feel pretty confident that all of them are pretty embarrassed about this last weekend.
Oh yeah,
coaching staff, players, and they're all taking a hard look in the mirror. You know, like I said, gut check time, and I feel like we're going to see it this weekend. You know, the result of, you know, we're not going to let that happen again. I'm hoping they all draw a line in the sand and say, all right, enough of this. We're done. We're done being that. That's not happening again. And it flips us, because you can take a loss like that and use it to help propel you to being successful, because people aren't going to like me saying this, but like, we still have a lot of season ahead of us. We can still accomplish a lot of goals. We have, you know, I'll admit, I was one when I thought today I'd see the rankings that we wouldn't be ranked. I was like,
I don't think we should. I don't think we should be ranked, honestly. Like,
or we'd be right there at like 24, 25.
Yeah.
But no, we're sitting at, let me look here, 18 in the media poll, 16 in the coaches poll.
Yeah.
So that tells me something, that, you know, maybe we're not, you know, maybe people are still seeing stuff. And I think we still have a team that could do stuff. Like I said, we've got all these ranked teams in front of us still. We could still do some stuff. But to do that, we need to be 1,000 times better than this last weekend and use that to propel us forward into what we need to get done.
I think that the voters, I think they look at what we could be, and they look at what lies ahead, and they say, well, we don't really know what they are going to look like, but we'll find out here in the next couple of weeks. And so they don't want to put us, you know, a 3-1 team out of the top 25. But man, I'm a Griz fan. I would have not have voted us in the top 25. And if I did, it would have been like 25.
Yeah, that's like, I thought for sure we'd be either out or right at 24 or 25.
Yeah. It was, I saw that. Or you even texted me. I was just like, what?
Yeah, I was surprised. I was very surprised.
Yeah.
So, because I know, like we talked about last week, Sam Herder voted us out. He didn't have us. And Craig Haley had us at 25.
25. Yeah.
So that tells me that there's other people, and you know, that's the media poll. I take a little bit more of the coaches poll. So that I was surprised that we were higher ranked in the coaches poll.
Yeah.
I do feel like the coaches know a little bit more than the media people, or, you know, so surprised. I'll take it. I'm glad we didn't fall a bunch. You know, it's like, okay, I'll take the little wins. So that was a little win. Let's take that little win and keep it going, and get other little wins and make them into big wins.
Well, and you know, it's do or die time, right? It's that win makes you need to kind of not lose the ones that you were expecting to win, right? This next one, you can't lose that one because you've got a slate of teams where, and I'm doing this as the analytical piece, like where you're like, Idaho, that's not looking like that's a 50-50 game.
No, I'm not saying
that's not a 50. That's
right
not a 50-50 game.
I don't have any confidence in us beating any of those teams. I'm just saying that if we did, we'd be right back in it.
Yeah.
First things first, we got to beat Idaho State. We lose to Idaho State, this whole freaking season's over. Like,
it is.
We're done. That's like, you know.
Yeah. So if we lose this game, like it is going to be a dumpster fire.
So we have one game right now. It's Idaho State, and we better beat them.
Yep.
And then we can move on to Davis. But right now, one game.
I love it. It matters. Let's get into Idaho State, man. The Bengals. They do have Cody Hawkins as their first-year coach coming over from UC Davis. A little bit about the Bengals. Man, remember last year when they had that dumpster fire of like players leaving? The coach basically said no one's coming back.
Yeah,
A lot of their
coach that that guy was
their best wide receiver went to play at Arizona State. So he came in. I think he's done a pretty good job. Like their first games, they've played people.
Yeah, no, I think he's doing a great job. And he comes from, I mean, his dad's Coach Hawk down in UC Davis, like you said, and
yeah,
he's grown up around that coaching life his whole life. I thought it was a great hire when they said that was the hire. I was like, way to give this young guy an opportunity.
Yep,
and good hire for them. So
yeah. So this year that they started out playing San Diego State, they lost 28-36, which I was amazed by. They then went to the next
San Diego State, who runs the same defense that we do.
Yeah, imagine that. Oh no, they went to Utah Sate. You just had to point that out.
I wasn't trying to scare you, but I've been thinking about that for a
Oh
while.
no, Utah State. They lost them 28-78. Played Northern Iowa. They lost to Northern Iowa 17-41. And then this week they played Northern Colorado, and they beat them 35-21. It was like not to be mean, but the bottom dwellers of the Big Sky. I think those two teams are kind of trying to find themselves.
Yeah.
But a little bit about Idaho State. They are the number one passing offense in the Big Sky.
They love the ball.
Oh, they love to throw the ball. They're number 6 overall in offense. They're the number 12 team in rushing. They do not like to rush with their running back. They like to rush with their quarterback.
Yeah,
which is crazy. Their leading rusher is a quarterback. Their defense, their rushing defense is last in the Big Sky, and their passing defense is number 9. So not a great defense. Prolific. Could I say prolific? They just pass the ball a lot. I don't know if it's prolific yet.
They throw and throw and throw some more.
Yep. And they're not scared to do it. They throw an interception, they're just going to throw more.
Did you see that play this weekend? Or it was Northern Colorado. I think he picked it or something. It was running down, and it was that their quarterback ran down and knocked the ball loose.
Yeah.
I mean, the effort that kid had, I was impressed. I was like, holy, yeah. It was all over the internet. I was like, dang.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It is. So a little bit, IOU guys, they're 27 points per game. Their opponents are scoring 44 points a game. Rushing, they're about 63 rushing yards a game. Passing, 322. Total, they're about 385. And so the opponents are about 493. Third down percentage, they're about 46%, a little over 46%. Fourth down, they're about 37. Red zone, they're 13 of 14 there, but 11 of those 14 have been touchdowns. And it's their defense is not great, and I think that's kind of holding them back. But going into just their QBs, they like we said, they play a 2 QB system. They have a Jordan Cook is their primary quarterback that throws the ball.
Yeah.
Hunter Hayes, runner. Yeah. And so he's the number 5 quarterback overall right now in the Big Sky. And then Hunter Hayes, like you said, Luke, is their running quarterback where he's that dual threat. He has thrown the ball. He's 40 of 64 for 404 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. But he is their leading rusher at 106 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. And that says a lot because their next running back is only at 49 yards.
Yeah.
So it's not like even close.
Yeah, no, it's not.
So Jordan Cook is at 76 of 130 with 829 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. So they will throw interceptions. They're not shy about it. They have the number 1 wide receiver in the Big Sky with Christian Fredrickson. He's got 25 receptions, 355 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's averaging about 89, almost 89 yards. But they also have the number 3 3 wide receiver in the Big Sky. Chaden James.
Yep, Chaden James.
31 receptions, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that's about 75 yards in average.
Yeah, so they're gonna get their passing yards on you.
Yeah,
and it seems like I don't care we are, because obviously they played Utah State and UNI, and I mean, other schools. So they're going to get their yards. So we're going to see them throwing the ball and getting yards on us. The key is hopefully Gradney has another pick, maybe a couple this game.
Yeah.
And, we bend but don't break, I guess, on defense is kind of what I'm thinking.
Well, and that's what's going to happen too, is that they're gonna get some yards. We've seen that passing teams, they're going to get yardage on us. So don't be surprised if that happens this game. But it's going to be pivotal that we get pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We have to get pressure, and whether it's, we have to bring that blitzing backer. So we're running more of like a forefront, where we've got our D linemen. We're going to have to bring someone from different positions to get pressure on them. Because if you watch some of their film, when you get pressure on them, that's when all this mistakes start happening. And it's like anything, but really with this guy. So if we can get that pressure and start knocking around early, well, then it's going to be a long day for him. And then that's going to help our secondary out and everything else.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how we step up. It's going to be a different environment at home. I would be a little more leery playing at Idaho State just because it's not the friendly confines of Griz.
And they play in that tractor shed up there at Idaho State.
Exactly.
So I was just curious. So in this weekend right now in Missoula, it's going to be about 50 degrees out on Saturday.
Ooh, nice.
And there's a 30% chance of rain.
Ooh, I love that.
The forecast is looking our direction.
There you go.
A team that's used to playing indoors in their tractor shed.
Hey, they've renovated that tractor shed.
Well,
they have. You should see the suites that they got in that tractor shed. It's pretty nice.
I've heard it's nice, and now Idaho added windows to theirs, so the Bengals will probably put windows in theirs too to get a little natural light in there too. But that thing is just. At least they don't have the old carpet they used to have in there. That stuff was awful.
I've also heard it's like a bush can too, right? Bush can in the ground or in the ground. That it's just.
But I'm hoping it rains a whole bunch, and that makes it for a long day for them, because they don't like running the ball very much.
No,
they're pretty one-dimensional with that Hunter Hayes running the ball. So
yeah, and it's pretty. It's not like they try to hide it either. Like he'll throw the ball, and he doesn't have a bad arm, but like what they're gonna do when he's out there. It's not something that you have to be a scientist to do. Yeah. But yeah, it like you said, we've gone over. They're gonna have to get some pressure, and what are we going to do when our back on the backside? Are we going to play man? Are we going to play zone? Because I feel like if we play zone coverage, we are going to kind of let those big, if we don't get pressure on them, I think they're going to cut us up.
I think on the outside, we're going to play man. Yeah. And then what worries me is more, because this was screwing up more in the last game, was our safeties not doing the right assignments, and that the slot guys and stuff. That's kind of worries me. Yeah. So it'd be nice if we can play man on the outside and give help over the top, but everybody's got to do their assignment. That's my biggest worry, is like, okay, know who you got and do your assignment. Don't run off of it. Just do your job.
Yeah, just do your 111th, right? Your 111th.
Do your 111th. Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. I don't think we'll see us play like that next week. I would be so surprised if we don't come out with vengeance on this team.
Well, notoriously, we've done that after loss. Yeah. Like, we come out and it's like, you don't want to be the next team that plays us.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. Their defense guys, their leading tacklers, their safety, Calvin Pitcher with 34 tackles. They're not getting a tremendous pressure on people. They're not really getting too much interceptions. They've got maybe like a couple. One guy had 2. I couldn't even. So this is bad. Their top interception guy, I couldn't even click on his name to see his bio because it wasn't. It didn't come up. You couldn't click on his name. So, yeah, you get what you get, I guess. But I wouldn't think that we couldn't score against this team. I'd be really alarmed if we're not scoring on this team.
If we're not scoring on this team, something's seriously wrong. I mean, we should be scoring on them and scoring on them and scoring a little more.
Yeah. It should be giving us a little pressure relief with our defense being able to score on this team. So, yeah, keys of the game, get pressure on the QB, right?
Yeah.
Get the offense going. And I want to see some passion. I want people to play with passion. It's hard when Marty is saying people need to play with passion on the broadcast.
Yeah.
He was saying that.
Yeah, he was saying that. He saw it.
Yeah.
You know.
So
it drives me nuts. People, I mean, there's a lot of people don't like Marty and the way he calls games. I love it. The guy is so smart, and he's seeing it, and he's calling it out right there. It's like, he's right, man. Yep. He's absolutely right. Yep. And yeah, I mean, he loves the Griz just as much as the rest of us. I mean, he does. And he's got to try to be biased. You know, you can tell when he isn't quite as biased. It's like, come on, you can do this. And it's like, he just wants us to will us in a way. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I love listening to him. I just think that I even put it on Twitter. Like, imagine that him be like, come be our quarterback's coach. That would be amazing. That would be cool. That would be very cool. I mean, he's super bright. That's why he's always putting on his quarterback camp every summer and stuff. And he'll bring crazy names in to help the local high school kids out and stuff to a little bit more about QB. But
pretty cool.
Yeah. So
I
have one last thought on Idaho State here. I'm going to give one shout out because I enjoy the heck out of them. They have this Idaho State has this fan page called The Jungle. It's The Jungle of ISU. And those guys are hilarious. I follow them all year long, and they just crack me up, and they're good at talking crap. And just like right now, I'm in this little battle. They pissed off a Cat fan, and he's mad.
Now
I've been talking back and forth to him, but everybody's just so funny, and the Cat fan is just mad. And we're just kind of making fun of him, and the Idaho guys are ganging up, and we're ganging up, and just like he jumped in this nice little back and forth we were having with the Jungle because those guys are hilarious. And they talk crap, and then he's just butthurt now, and it cracks me up. And so if you're looking for a good follow, you want to get some laughs, follow those guys. I think they're run by students or something. They're it is a funny and they do some crazy things on there too. It's hysterical. Yeah, like last year I loved it. They put a picture out of Bobcat Stadium with a shadow over it, and it said something like, "Yep, Bobcats are still living in the shadow of the Grizzlies." And it was just like, oh man, they will throw shade at anybody, and I love it.
Yep. You got to. If your program's not anything else, you've got to throw shade. That's about all they can do.
Awesome. It's so awesome.
All right, man. You want to do predictions, and we can do some fan questions?
Sure. I wrote mine down earlier today, actually.
All right. Well, what is it, buddy?
So I'm taking the Griz. I've got the Griz 31, Idaho State 17.
Okay.
I've lowered my points a little bit.
Yeah, I have too.
I'm lowering my expectations a little bit.
I've got the Griz. I have 24-10.
24-10. Okay.
Yeah. So
all right. Well, I just ran the Versus app to see what they would say, and the Versus has the Griz winning as well, 34-19.
Oh, higher than what we think.
Yeah.
What was it last week?
Let's see here. Last week, 31-13 Griz.
Oh gosh.
So, well, here's one thing I thought was interesting too. There was a line that came out earlier today already on this game. Really? And they've got us favored by 25.5, which I thought was
wow.
Okay. And the over under being 57.
So we're
early line, but I was just like, boy, that they got better confidence right now on our offense and stuff. I want the Griz to go out there and prove us wrong. I hope they go out there and just beat the crap out of these guys and put, do a Eastern Washington last year, 63-3 or something like that. Yep. Go out there and just dominate and make everybody shut up and go, okay, here's the team that we were talking about. That's what I'd love to see. Because right now, that's the one I have down for a score. I have, we should win because Idaho's really not that good. And I hope we win 31-17. And
at least
so much cooler if we went out and just ran it up on them, and then the defense just shut them down.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of alarming. Like we've definitely gone from both of us. Ferris State, I said 48, you said 41. And then last week I said 35, you said 41. We've definitely gone down in points.
So it's our confidence levels have definitely gone down a little bit, I think.
Exactly. And it's not like we don't believe in them. It's just we have seen over 4 games, not too much good.
No.
And
we're going to lower expectations a little bit. Let them blow them out of the water.
Exactly. Guys, we've got some questions here from fans. So, do you have yours? Because I have scroll through Twitter here.
You go ahead. I think we've covered most of the ones that I'd seen.
Totally going to cut this out. Sorry. I've had a lot of
my Twitter. I can't find the Twitter ones. I've been a little active on Twitter lately.
I know, me too. I'm like, let me see here.
Well, and you've got the official.
Yeah.
You're gonna cut this part out?
Yeah.
Okay, so like Lane asked the basic questions. I don't even want to ask it because it's like, should Bobby be fired and all that? And I don't even like talking about that stuff. So
yeah.
That's why I'm skipping that one.
Yeah. I do think that he's on the hot seat.
I think he's in the hot seat too. But yeah, I just don't like talking about that right now.
Yeah. Okay, here. All right. Sorry, guys. It took us a little bit, but M. Thorich at Ford 61 Tom. I think we look better when Clifton's out there running the offense. Why do you think they didn't give him a series in the 4th?
I can answer that.
We were down.
Yeah, we were down big, and Vidlak's the better passer. So
yeah,
you're going to go with the guy that's the more accurate passer because you got to throw the ball. I mean, when you're
down 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, you're down 2 touchdowns. You're going to try to find, but if your offensive line's not blocking for you and guys aren't running the right routes, it's going to, I don't care who's out there,
Yeah. Well, it's my thing is this person is probably thinking, well, our mindset, and you can see it. It's weird. I've never seen it before, but our offensive line's mindset when we run the ball is totally different when we pass the ball.
Yeah.
And it, I don't know why, and I think it's affecting the play out there because of what we're seeing. But I understand where this guy's coming from is we should just have him out there. But at the same time, if you can't get down 2 touchdowns and just expect to run the ball and get back.
Because you're trying to manage the clock too, and throwing the ball stop if you drop the pass, it stops the clock.
Yeah,
where you run the ball and you only get a yard, well, the clock just keeps on running.
Exactly. Well, especially with the new rules too, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
So
until we get down to that 2 minute in the 4th, it's
yeah.
So it's just standard football. You're down, you have to throw the ball more, and so that's why they left Vidlak in there too.
Yeah. Brian Hunt says, has the game evolved so much that an experienced coaching staff is now considered a disadvantage? I saw more creativity out of a young NAU OC and Frosh quarterback than our well-seasoned OC who's coached at several premier FBS schools.
So for those that don't know it, that young OC is one of our old head coaches, Flugrad's son.
Flugrad, yep.
And he was very creative. I mean, they were pulling out every. It's like Coach Ball went, run every trick play you want. I don't care what you do, figure it out. So they did. It makes you wonder sometimes if our staff is just like overthinking it, maybe. So I think that when I see it's 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, and we run a sweep to the outside instead of running it straight, I'm like, are we thinking? Oh, they'll never think we'll run this. Like, is that what we're thinking? I mean, this is what goes on in my head. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, we're gonna trick them. They'll never think we're gonna run to the short side and run a sweep. Why? You know, I'm
Well,
like, why?
their defensive end was a beast, and it just made our lack of effort of guarding that defensive end just made him look like more of a beast on that one play when they're running to the left, and he just goes in there and just creams Harris on like a 4th and 1. And I'm just like, first of all, why is Harris in that position?
Yeah,
And why is you not blocking that guy coming around? They're untouched.
Yeah.
It
There's
just,
certain plays. Now, there are certain plays where we leave a guy untouched, like the defensive end. We're supposed to read him, but that's not what this was. It looked like.
no.
So, yeah, I don't get some of that. Why we're like, it's almost like we're getting too tricky.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's some of it. Maybe we just need to dumb it down and play some, easier. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but hands off to Flugrad's son.
Yeah, he played.
He did a great job coaching that offense against us.
Exactly. Brian Legreed says, "What's the date of the first home game next year?" I don't know if that's in reference to him not going to the games or if he's just tired of it.
I believe we're playing Missouri State as our first home game next year.
Okay. I thought it was like sarcastically saying that he was done with this year.
He might be. I think that's probably what he's saying. But just to answer your question, we're playing Missouri State over Labor Day weekend. So, time to be determined yet.
Oh, that is kind of funny. So did you have any that you had out there?
I don't know. My phone's. I had one from Lane asking, I think, about the quarterbacks and stuff, and I think we've covered.
You covered
that about the quarterbacks and stuff, but
let me get on Griz. Sorry, should have had it up, but
oh no, that's all right. It's just I'm really hoping that our defensive backfield is ready for all this passing, because I feel like Gradney is there. He's doing a great job. He's getting picks. He's staying on his guys. I feel like our corners are doing all right. It's the safeties really that I'm more worried about this weekend with this passing game. So I'm hoping we man up the outside and just use the safeties for more help, and just give that extra help and not overcommit to the run because these guys pass and pass some more.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the linebackers too. Are we gonna go all out, or are we gonna bring back, or are we gonna have them fade back when we know that they're passing?
You got to send at least one of them every time. Is in my opinion, at least one, if not two, just to get the pressure. But then, you're going to have one of them helping out, and whether it's out in the flats or right in the middle there. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, here we go.
I'm sure I didn't get on Griz this weekend because I'm sure it was.
You missed Griz here, buddy. Yeah. After the game, it's never good. It's like never good to go on there after.
I was just thinking like it's negative after we win sometimes. So I was like, man, I don't even want to look at it after we lose because I was already as mad as I was, and I was like, I don't need to get on there and start saying bad things to other Griz fans because I'm pissed.
Oh yeah, it was a bloodbath. But we do have one question on Griz.
Okay.
And so this is the UT Griz fan. There is no defense of Bobby or this coaching staff. There is no defense of. Okay. In particular, in offense anymore. We have clear regression on both sides of the ball. Offense, it's been happening for years. Seriously address if this is the time to move on. Find some new coaches. Who should they be? I have no it's in the middle of the season. I think we'll get to that farther down the line. I still think we have, if we lose this game, we'll be talking about that.
There's people that are upset about the coaching staff, and I'm sure, Bobby maybe had some for sale signs in his yard, or maybe not. I know I remember Joe Glenn talking about that after we lost to Hofstra that time. But
yeah,
people are upset, and rightfully so, because our expectation is so much higher at the University of Montana, and it should be. I mean, we have talented players, and it does feel like they've regressed. They should be playing a lot better. So thank goodness we got Idaho State that hopefully we can show that what they can do. And, if we, like you said, if we do lose this game, well, then, the question is should the staff still be here? I don't know. I mean, I think part of the question is I don't think Bobby's signed an extension or a new contract at all. And
I don't know. This is his last year.
Yeah, this is his last year.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been someone asked him about it, I think, before the season. And
oh, yeah. He was very adamant about it.
Yeah, he was like, well, it could be on my desk. You don't know. And it was just like,
he's like, I haven't signed it. I'm not going to talk about it. He was very adamant about not getting into it and that there might be something, there might not be something. And he's fine with coaching and he's fine with not coaching.
Yeah. The one thing I do know is he loves the Montana Grizzlies. Like,
oh, yeah.
Hauk is a Grizzly through and through, and he loves these players. I mean, I think we saw that after the Ferris State game when he was all fired up and everybody was excited and stuff. And there's a picture of him just, it's he loves football and he loves this team. That's one thing I'll give to him. Now, if for some reason the staff was done, my personal opinion is that we need to bring someone from outside in, like do a national search, something different, and not quit. And I mean, relying on
you can't go for the same tree, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think we need to start anew if we go down that road. But this season is not even close to being over. It's just beginning. We failed once. Well, hopefully learn from it and pick ourselves back up and go get it. I mean, Christ, that's just we can't let one loss define our whole season. So we have an opportunity here to go get things right with this game and then just see what happens from there.
I think so too. I think that we'll get to that down the line, guys. If this year doesn't wind up it's there'll be those questions, and it's only going to get a little bit hotter as we go on.
State, I'd be glad to talk about coaching changes.
Exactly. We'll get to that. If we lose this game, we'll get to that. Yeah. I don't think that we kind of talked about it a little bit. Like there is a hot seat. I think the fans are some fans are, some fans aren't. I think it's 50-50. I think
it's a little more than 50-50 right now.
Well, I think right now, yeah. But at the start of the season, though, I think you had like a camp that was like, oh, he's a good coach. And I think you have a camp that is saying, hey, we're not seeing anything grow, right? And I think you're probably right. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Well, with all the stuff we have going for us as the Montana Grizzlies, the facilities, the fans, the whole experience, it's like our expectation is way up here. It's way higher, and it should be, rightfully so, higher than any other FCS program out there. Yeah. And when we're not hitting those expectations, I think it's fair for the fan base to ask questions.
Well, and just looking at like how much they charge for tickets and all that stuff, like fans still pay that, and they're still, but at the same time, that's got to give sometime, right? Yeah. Like you can't just keep on upping the price and the product doesn't get better. Yeah, like that's not going to happen. And so I think it's going to be interesting. I agree with you, Luke, that we've got to go outside. If it does happen, we've got to go outside the coaching tree. We've got to do a national search. We've got to do our due diligence and not just say, well, we can do the safe thing, right? And try to.
We've had some good coaches here. I mean, there was years ago, Chip Kelly applied for the job at one point. This was a long time ago. Yeah. But I mean, look at Jonathan Smith over there at Oregon State. He was our OC at one point for a year. So there's good coaches out there that would love to be here. I don't think we're there yet to be talking about that personally. But again, like I said, I'll jump on that bandwagon if we lose to Idaho State. But we're not going to lose to Idaho State. So that's not going to happen. We're going to go over there. We're going to kick their ass. And we're going to win this game this weekend. And I'm hoping and I'm confident that our lines are going to dominate up front and we're going to right this ship.
Exactly. So he's got two more questions here. Garbage offense, play calling, and inexcusable O-line play. He talks about the player to be named at a later date. Abandoning our QB to get hit. Is there some drama there we don't know of? Regardless, it's inexcusable behavior. And I think you kind of went over that.
I don't think it's any drama. I think it's more. It was the play was already jacked up. He gave up on the play, and that's it. I don't think there was any like malicious like I'm mad at Sam and want him to get hurt. I think there was just frustration there on everything that was going on in that game. Now that's not it's not excusable at all.
Yeah.
But that's what it feels like to me. It doesn't feel like it was some kind of, you stole my girlfriend and I'm going to let you get hit or something like that. It's Vidlak's married. He's an old man basically out there. So it's just a weird ass game, and weird things happen, and guys did things that we'd never see them do before. So hopefully, again, they learn from it and don't do it again.
His last question here, as mentioned, ride out the season with this train wreck or make some mid-season moves, fire and appoint interim OCs, coaches, and use the season to get guys we want to retain experience. Also, shouldn't hire based on friend/Montana connection status. Pease has a terrible track record, especially in the recent years.
So I got a question for him, I guess.
Yeah.
People that are like, fire the OC in the middle of the season. Okay, and get who?
Yeah. Well, and I think
are you going to find an idiot coach worth of crap in the middle of the season that's not already coaching? Unless we want to pull Marty Morningweg out of the booth and go, call our offense, Marty. That's just it doesn't work.
No, and I think that it does more damage than anything because you fire a head coach or you fire an offensive coach, and then you pull from within. Like that's the problem we have right now, anyways. Yeah. Like the reshuffling, we'll see. Has it helped? Like it doesn't seem like it's helped. There might be some nuances in some ways, but I don't think it's helped in the greater scheme of things. And we'll find out at the end of the year if it helped at the end result.
Yeah, but the reshuffling is more an offense. I mean, like Ronnie Bradford, Coach Bear had to leave. We didn't talk about this, but it was on Riley's podcast. Coach Bear left because he had cancer.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that he still loves ball and stuff, but he had to leave because of that. So the defensive side, I feel like that was just he left, and so Bradford was the next right up. I think that's still going around the right track. The shuffling though on the offense with like the dual coaches on the line and Rosie being like an analysis guy, and now Pease, it felt like the right thing, but is there tension still? Is there guys that are in the Rosie camp and there's guys that are in the Pease camp? And we just don't know. Is the line, is it weird and jacked up because we got a tight ends and tackle coach and a center guard coach? And, I think that Rob Fennessy and Chad Germer get along, but maybe they hate each other. I don't know. I mean, it's like, so we just don't know those dynamics and stuff. And hopefully we start seeing our line gel, because I think if they can, that we're going to see a lot better product out of them. Because I saw a lot better last year.
Yeah,
more experience this year. So
they should already be gelled though. Like to some extent, like they were the same offensive line as last year. There's no.
Yeah,
I don't know. You're right. They should be gelled.
They should be spending all day and time with each other all the time and just be ready to go.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. Last question. Ali Z chat. One question I'd like to answer: who has the better pod, Fight On or GFP?
I think they're both really good.
Exactly.
Just so everybody knows, like, I'm friends with all those guys on the GFP. Yeah. They're all great guys. I think we just all like talking Griz football. Like,
exactly.
I listen to their pod, and I think they listen to our pod, and it's just it's nice to have all this Griz content. That's what
exactly. I think that each pod has their different kind of subtleties in what they do. But no, I don't. I wish them all the luck, and then they have a great pod. They've been doing it for a little bit longer than we have. So no, they've been great. I wish them the luck. I listen to their pod, and it's some of the things are funny, and I laugh at it, and it's great. The Grizzly content that we can get out there, I think is better. There's so much stuff that we could talk about to even just make Griz Nation even bigger.
Yeah.
That I just think that we're not the how do I say this without pissing people off? The communication side it can or won't do that we can do besides them.
Yeah, it's fun that we have fan pods. I mean,
exactly.
Like we have, I mean, so I also listen to Riley's pods.
Yeah, and his is awesome.
I'll go and listen to ESPN Missoula, listen to Coulter, his stuff that he puts out. I mean, it's just like there's a lot of us out there that just want as much Griz content as we can get. Yep. And especially after losses, it's kind of therapeutic to talk about all this stuff and get your feelings out and stuff. So I listen to anything I can get my hands on that talk about Griz football.
Yeah.
So, and I think there's a lot of people out there like that. And when it comes to the FCS, we don't get all that stuff like the FBS does with national pods and all this different stuff and, different shows. And so we'll take it where we can get it. And I think we're blessed that we have, multiple fan pods that go on and Riley putting his stuff out and Coulter doing what he's doing. And it's a pretty cool time to be a Griz fan because I remember not long ago we didn't have all this stuff and it was like we didn't have ESPN Plus. It was like, well, maybe I can get this game. And all you really had was if you could get it still, you could listen to Mick and freaking Gurns on the radio, which was a delight then. Now we have all this stuff that's going on and it's pretty awesome. So now we just need our guys to show up on the field and make us all feel awesome too.
Exactly. Well, let's get a win this next weekend and move on to the heart of what we're gonna have to face because after this week it gets hard. 2 road games against UC Davis and Idaho. We've got a UNC team, and then we've got Sac State at Portland State, which Portland State is kind of a team I'm kind of worried about. They've been putting up a lot of points, even in their high school stadium. But and then you got the Kittens, the last game at Griz, which I don't care what has happened in the past. That game is still going to be a game to watch, no matter what. I know they've had our number, but we've beaten them too. And so
there's been years when they have not won hardly a damn game except for the game
for us.
So you just never. That's a game. About the records and stuff, but first things first. For any of that stuff, got to go take care of Idaho State.
Exactly. And rate, review, and subscribe to the pod wherever you get it. And tell your friends, tell everybody about our podcast here. And also just if you guys want to get a hold of us, remember we let our eGriz, we ask for questions there. And also just get a hold of us on Twitter and Instagram as well. And then, we love to hear from you guys. We love that you guys are still listening to us, and we appreciate it. And on to another week.
Yeah. I want to also give a shout out to Shea Rosberg. Him and I were both being therapeutic after the game, talking about all the play and stuff. So just going back and forth. So shout out to him. And didn't have any questions, but we were both just like, nice. What happened? What just happened here? So
nice. Yeah. That's what we are. We are therapeutic.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, guys. Until next week. Go Griz.
Fight on.